Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We're going to talk about something today that really can change your life in terms of helping to heal you. And we've talked before about this healing thing. We all got things we need to heal from. Maybe it's a trauma. Maybe it's stress you got to heal from. It's many different things. One way you can do that is through sound healing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how sound can make such a difference. I mean, think about it. You put on a song, you feel a different way. It's not just the lyrics, it's the energy coming from the sound or song. And this is something that she practices. She's an international best-selling author, speaker. She also does Reiki teacher, practices heart math. She's a life coach, a crystal practitioner. I can't just keep going on. Sound healer. And she's back with us. I.e., she knows her stuff. Becki Koon joins us. How are you, Becki?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna out you here. You're in a cabin somewhere in Montana, and you're there to even further your knowledge of all of this stuff. This is a Reiki convention seminar.
Well, it's actually a Karuna Reiki training that I'm helping teach. So I'm.
Oh, you're teaching. Oh, okay. Wow.
And so we've got a weekend getaway at a hot springs resort where we're doing Reiki training. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, the teachers in, we are all the students. We are here to learn about this thing called sound healing. And I've experienced it to some degree, but there's a lot to learn about it.
There's a lot to learn about it. And it's something that we all experience. It doesn't matter where in the world, like as a human, right? We experience sound, period. Yeah. And if you think about it, it's like the sound waves move through the air, right? And we're feeling and those waves, we feel the impact of those waves. We feel not only hearing, like we don't only hear the sound, right, through our ears, that vibration and frequency going into our ears, but we sense it in our body. We feel it. We feel the vibration and the frequency in our bodies as well. So sound healing is a beautiful, beautiful way to connect to the body and aspects of your soul essence.
Let's go back. Let's rewind for a moment and just recap in that this is all about energy. We are all energy. You're a certain vibration of energy. And when we say energy, we mean vibration. I'm a different vibration. They're never going to be the same. This piece of paper is energy, has a vibration. Everything vibrates, as does sound. And that's where the healing comes in, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, it's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of science behind using sound now and frequency to affect change in the body. So not only the physical body, but like you said in the very beginning, like you hear a piece of music sometimes that it will move you. It will affect you. It will lift your spirit, or it will bring you to a memory, or, sometimes, I mean, if you hear a piece of music at a time in your life when there was something happening that was an impact, right? That you were impacted by, every time you hear that song, you're there in that moment of impact. Like it just brings you there. And so every aspect of us has a different resonance or a different frequency. So even our cells, our organs, our tissue, right, all carry a certain frequency resonance. So when you're listening to music or using sound, and by sound healing, it can be anything, Steve. It can be music. It can be chimes. It can be drums. It can be gongs, or, something like that. Like the monks, they use those big gongs and made sound, right? So they're just like, sound is a human voice. It's toning. It's those frequencies. So yeah, we're impacted by those vibrations and frequencies all the time.
I had my first experience in this whole sound thing. It was about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more. And somebody invited me to a cacao ceremony.
Okay.
And cacao is cocoa.
Yes.
And they get the most purest from the tropical rainforest of Costa Rica. And apparently it has euphoric properties. So, they just put a little agave in it, sweeten it up. But before the ceremony started, somebody had a sound bowl
Yes.
and a gong.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there, on the floor. Maybe there's like 15 people in the room.
Yeah.
And they hit the gong. It was the first time I've ever felt that. And the vibration of that just was like, I was like, oh, whoa, wow. I felt it like come my way. Then they hit the sound bowl and just the high frequency of just the going around was like, well, I've like woke me up, slapped me in the face and woke me up. And that was my first foray into this thing called sound healing. And by the way, on the back end of this ceremony, we had it drink the stuff and did a breathing technique. Lasted about maybe 15 minutes. I got to tell you, everybody in the room was crying.
Yeah.
It was so like you were told to think of things that you need to work on, issues in your life. It was everybody's bawling in a good way.
In a good way, right? It's
Yeah.
a release, right? We hold these things within us, and our cells hold memory, right? We hold all of that stuff inside. And so when we allow ourselves to kind of tap into a different way of experiencing and feeling, right, we can have a release. So those cells, your body, was feeling that resonance of the gong or the bowls, right? And allowing a opening. It's like a kind of a door opens to a different awareness. And then the body's able to work with you and release stuff. And
Yeah.
tears are a great release. Tears, you connect to the heart. Like when you connect to the heart, a lot of times tears flow. That's just how it works.
Yeah,
right.
totally. The sound healing part of it, it's my understanding, and I've spoke to people that do sound healing. I mean, I know somebody that has a full room, a full studio of.
Oh.
I'm going by memory here. I'm trying to count in my mind here. Probably 10 different gongs,
Oh.
all different types of chimes, bowls, all of this hardcore sound healing. They tell me that they set an intention before they play them. Is that typically how it works?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of times, the stage is set, and it can be simple. Like for me, with a lot of the sound healing I do, like this weekend, that in particular, the Karuna Reiki brings in a sound, different symbols and different sounds. So we're working with sound and healing, Reiki healing energy.
Wow.
Because it's even that much more impactful, right? It adds another element of healing to the process. So when I'm in session with someone, often the sound healing that'll happen will be my own voice. I'll feel, or I'll hum, or a sound will come. And I'm just, at this point, Steve, in my life, I'm just like, you know what? This is Becki. You may think I'm crazy. Okay, it's okay. It's like, it's okay. I'm going to hum, or I'm going to make a sound that I feel spirit moving me to make. And so even someone's voice, the hum of your own voice, will resonate through your body, right? And it's healing. So I had a woman on the table one time. I'll tell you a little story. And she was having issues with her voice and her throat chakra voice. And I was told to hum and literally place my mouth really close to her throat chakra. And so as I'm humming, she starts humming, and both of us are resonating sound through her body, her vocal cords, my vocal cords. And she had a huge release. So there you go. I
believe it.
I can't always explain it, Steve. Like I don't always know how to explain what's happening. I just know that the energy piece and using vibration and frequency sometimes is the piece that can trigger something for healing. When you've done the physical, when you've done the emotional, when you've done the mental work, right? Sometimes it's that higher level divine connection right? That connection to God, if God is that source for you, or, Jesus or ascended masters, or those energies, right? The higher level energies, and bringing that energy and focus in. Sometimes that's the key, right?
How did you know to do that? Now, you initially, were you doing Reiki on this woman?
Yes.
Okay. How did you make the decision that you're going to essentially sound heal her? And again, doesn't matter where the sound comes. Here's a coffee cup. I'm going to strike it. There's a sound that comes out of it. Whatever's going to work
Yes.
is whatever works for you works. The sound came out of you and not a
Yes.
gong. How did you decide what to do for this woman?
Had an intuitive hit.
Okay.
I've learned to, like, when I receive kind of this intuitive insight, I go with it. I've learned to trust it. I've learned to trust inspired thought and not question it. Even as crazy as it can sound, the thought just came to me. You need to tone on her throat. You need to voice on her throat. And so I do it. And like I said, it's not like I hear a separate voice speaking to me, but it's an awareness that comes over me. And we all do it, Steve. That's the thing. We all have those intuitive and inspired thoughts come to us.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we discount it. A lot of times we just say, oh, but we can all learn to honor that, because a lot of times that's that connection to higher source. That's the connection to spirit giving you a message saying, wait, pay attention to this.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to get better at that. I am.
I still work on it, Steve. I still do.
It is. I've got things I'm hearing, in my mind that I should be doing even today. And I'm like, I wonder if I should do that or do this or do that. I'm trying to decide, but one is definitely pulling more. I was thinking about, I have two things I need to do today.
Uh-huh.
One I really should be doing, really weird, one I want to do. The one I should be doing is now pulling me. And I knew about it 4 days ago. And now here it is, the day. And now I feel it. Now I feel it. I'm being pulled in that direction, and I'm going to honor it. I'm going to go in that direction because I'm feeling that that's what I should be doing.
And so how do you explain that, right? How do you explain that pull? Like, you are feeling that pull to do something, and you're paying attention.
It's freaking annoying. It's annoying. It is. I'm like, right, all right.
Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. How many times do you tell me before I get it, right?
And I was even thinking, well, I'll just give an excuse why I can't do this thing. But I really, it's something I should be doing. And I have to, I even brought other clothes for it today, thinking that, well, I could always change my mind either way. But it's, it's the right thing to do. That's where I'm going. It's the right thing to do. And it's like, do I have to? No, but it is the right thing to do. And today now it's like a magnet, like, like, all right, well, okay. That's it. I got to honor it because this is saying this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's that internal voice, right?
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer in, we have the answer inside us. Anything, any question you want to ask, anything. Yes, you can go to a psychic. You can go to somebody who's intuitive. There's a lot of things you can do. And those are fine choices. And trust me, I've gotten really specific answers from those people, the ones that are legit. Before
I still see people too, Steve. So it's for me, more than anything, it's a validation of what I already know.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
When I see somebody and it's like, oh, I knew that, actually. I did know that.
They even tell me that. Like, I've even asked questions of like the best psychics on the planet. I'm just blessed to be connected to them. And I get, you knew that though.
You knew that.
You knew that though.
I do. Yep.
And I don't want to admit it because I should have taken action on it at that time, but I didn't. But yes, you're right. I knew that. But to your point, it is the validation, and if we can get to the point where we can listen within, we can find the answers that we're looking for. The woman that you did and I find it fascinating that you just did a sound from your mouth, but it makes perfect sense because it doesn't matter where the sound came from.
Right.
How fast was the change in her?
It was immediate as soon as she got up off the table. So what was happening is she was having a lot of, she was having a lot of clearing happening. She was having a lot of dryness and coughing. And the minute she got up off the table after the session, she wasn't coughing. She didn't have that phlegm. She didn't have that happening. She was like, wow, that was immediate. Like whatever we did seemed to release something for her. And again, could I tell you what happened? No, not really. I just know that I followed an intuition. I did something that seemed kind of crazy a little bit. Luckily, she was open to it, right? And had immediate effect.
Wow. What was causing it?
She was having a blockage. There was an emotional tie to what was happening. And we just helped it. We talked about it. We went in, we talked about what she felt like it was. And we just helped the process of the physical body release. So,
and what was I'm just curious about the blockage. Was it coming from a situation in her life? Was it about stress?
She wasn't speaking her truth on something.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
She wasn't being her.
Yeah, she wasn't being her. She wasn't standing in what she knew to be the truth of her. Or she was, but she was keeping it closed, right? She wasn't speaking what she needed to speak at the time.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So, any other examples can you give us? Sound healing that's worked for somebody, or even other examples of how it works?
So some of the classes that I do at my center, like we do gong ceremonies, and I've had and those are powerful. Like again, you said you lay on the floor. Oh, see, here we go. Sound my throat.
I get that all the time.
And you experience the waves of sound coming at you, right? And opening up a portal. And so I've had people who have had huge awarenesses on something, like they've had a situation in their life where they just couldn't quite put their finger on why they were experiencing this. And in the sound healing, the waves, that all of a sudden they had this insight. They went to a higher frequency and were able to tap into their own awareness and had huge insight on an issue that was happening. Physically, you can affect change in the physical body through sound, absolutely. And using frequency. So bioresonance, it's just this form of energy healing, right? And but sound is energy healing. It's the same thing. You can use sound to literally penetrate into the body and work at either supporting the system or kind of breaking stuff up and helping it move.
Wow. How do you make the decision what to use? What modality? Why sound over Reiki? Why Reiki over something else?
More often than not, it's a combination. So the way that I work is I have tuning forks. So tuning, a tuning fork it's like a fork, really, and you tap the side of the fork, and you can put the fork right on the body, and it sends that frequency of the tuning fork into the body directly, right? So I've used tuning forks. I use
Wow.
Yeah, those are amazing. Those are amazing. And they have different frequencies. So the fork itself can be tuned to a different frequency, like the love frequency, the different hertz and different ranges of frequency. I'm always using meditative music in the background because there's a high frequency overlay in some of the music that I use that allows you to go to that space of like a meditative space. So there's always music going in the background. There may be a tuning fork. I have these little machines, they call them pods. They're tiny little speakers, and they emit random sounds, random frequency sounds. So what it does is it bypasses the thinking mind, and I can put those on the body. I can put them on the chest and other places of the body, and they'll do these tones and dings and sounds. And it's like I said, it's a random generated thing, but it sends that frequency of those higher frequencies into the body to let the body do what it needs to do.
What's that device called?
Oh, okay.
This is
Now,
why.
remember, they're little pods. They're like a,
Is it controlled by an app?
no.
Okay.
No.
Because somebody told me about something recently. It sounds like that. It's called Healy. And it's
Healy. Yes, I do Healy. Yes. Steve, it works. It works. You need to pay attention.
and I think there's a reason why maybe they mentioned that to me. And now it's coming up again. And I started Googling it. The device, even at the lower level, is a bit pricey.
Yes.
And it can go up, and then you pay for the programs on your phone that send to it. That's not sending sound though, that's sending the vibration, correct?
That's sending the vibration. Yeah. So that's not a sound. But they're so similar, Steve. It's just that the sound you're also getting, you're also hearing, right? You're also experiencing that, but it's the same concept. It's frequency healing. I mean, I have a Healy, and I share that with others as well. So,
wow.
Yeah.
We're not selling Healy.
No.
and,
but
and
it's
the concept is the same.
Yes.
What would do what Healy does, or is that just an easier way to do certain things that are being done in terms of vibration?
It's just an easy way because you've already got, it's already programmed. It's already got things in place, right? But we do it, like, if you think about it, we do it all the time. We're dealing with healing and frequency, and we expose ourselves in different ways, just living life, right? Like, what kind of music do you listen to, right? That's affecting your physicality. It's affecting your body. My late husband, who passed 4 years ago, was a musician. And, you saw this, I was in the studio the one day, right? When we talked. And he was exploring frequency and how frequency affected the body and affected the soul, affected the essence of us, right? And certain frequencies affect us different ways. And so even listening to the music, we are affecting change in our physicality. That's why, people who are really connected to, like a friend of mine, his pastor was just talking about how people who are really keyed into sound and music go to that really deep place within themselves, with their spirit, with their belief, with their connection to, to God. That there's a correlation that he's found, right, with music and song, and that connection, that strength of that connection. I mean, people, there's a lot of people that go to churches that have that kind of music, right? That just lights you up, and it just sets the stage then for your own awareness.
Yeah.
So we do it all the time, Steve. We just don't know that. We just don't define it that way.
We're experiencing energy every second of our lives, but we don't know. Most of us, the majority of us, have no idea what it's doing, good or bad, because you could be dealing with somebody who has bad energy.
Yes.
And they're sending these negative vibrations to you. Is the sounds of a higher vibration, and that's why the healing comes in?
Well, I don't know all the science behind that, but that's my experience. So my experience is that the higher, kind of those higher frequencies and those energies are what affect healing. So when I was doing my own healing from my cancer, Steve, when I was like 2 years, I've been cancer free for 2 years, but when I was doing my own journey of healing, I was using frequency and sound and all kinds of alternative things. But what I knew for sure, what I knew without a doubt, was that when I was in those higher frequency states, my body was healing. I knew it. Could I prove it? No.
You just know.
I just knew that
Yeah.
when I was doing those things and I was in my own state of higher frequency, I could feel it. Like my cells would vibrate and I could feel it. I knew I was healing.
And I'm sure mentally you even felt elated. Like there was just something like, I just rose above something here. I don't know what it is, but I just feel, good. This is good.
Level of calm, a level of peace, a
Yes.
level of, yeah,
There's been
yeah.
times in tumultuous situations in my life where I should be crumbling. And there's been times where I've tried to practice that. Again, I'm a novice. Um, but I one day walked outside and I was just like, we're good. And I call it the quiet calm. It's like, we're good. Things are good. And it's not that I'm not being realistic. It's just that, yeah, I got it. I got a grip on it. We're good with that. I feel like, yeah, I was maybe vibrating a little higher. And that's why I said, in terms of the sound, wondering that we all want a higher vibration. That's what we're looking for, all of us. So that's why I'm thinking, with the sound or the waves that
There are certain tones and frequencies that support that. And there are certain tones and frequencies that create angst.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, 100%. And even you can just Google, I forget what they're called, but there are certain tones and musics that's made with it. It's just a drony kind of sound, but it's of a certain vibration, like the vibration of love. And I
Yes.
think it's 5.6 kilohertz. I'm going by memory here, but there's different frequencies.
There's different frequencies. They do impact us differently. We all have access to it. There's so much out there now, Steve. More and more information's coming forward. And all these different modalities and things that we can do to
Yeah.
support ourselves, right?
We're out of time. You mentioned music. I want to share lyrics with you. I don't know why I'm doing this, but the universe says I'm supposed to.
Intuition.
I'm laying on a couch last night, and I also do radio and I play music. I play music from could be 70s, 80s, 90s, and a guy. I guess I went to high school with him. He messaged me and he says, "Can you got to play some songs by Harry Chapin?" Don't know if you remember him.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
He passed in a horrible car accident in the early 80s. He's from where I am, Long Island.
Oh, okay.
It's just random that, this guy was asking. And I go for a bike ride today and I'm playing one of his songs, just pop it in there. Song's called Taxi. It's kind of a big hit in the early 70s. And this line, this section, a couple of sentences goes with what the woman you just said wasn't speaking her truth. And I think this is for many of us. Oh, I've got something inside me, not what my life's about, because I've been letting my outside tide me over till my time runs out. So basically, you're not being you. We're not being us. We're just putting this facade on until
we find ourselves.
or until we find ourselves, or we find out it's too late.
Right,
Yeah, you can
right,
you can
right.
interpret it any way you want, but
Exactly, right. Yeah, no,
it,
we want to do it now. How about we all try to do it before we leave the planet?
100%. But many of those ways is through what we're talking about today. All
Yes.
of this, the energy healing. How do we find you, Becki?
You just go to my website, BeckiKoon.com, BeckiKoon.com.
Yeah. Super cool talking with you. Always learn a lot. I can't believe, I don't think I've ever met somebody who does metaphysical practice that does all the things that you do. It's amazing.
To me, it's all one and the same. It's just all part of that big picture.
Well, you know what? I look at it this way. If you're an artist, you paint in different mediums. Let's say you're a versatile artist and some are known for one medium, but so others are like, yeah, I'm going to do charcoal today. Yeah, I'm going to do oil. I'm going to do acrylics. I'm going to do watercolor. The result is the same. In the end, it's a beautiful painting. And that's kind of you. Sound healing could be Reiki, could be heart math, could be whatever it is. The end result is the same, healing people.
Yes.
And you don't stop. Here you are at a a retreat, if you will. Yeah, sharing your knowledge with others. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here today.
You, it's fun to chat. Okay.
Yeah, you too. And crank up that stove. It's cold over there.
Yeah, right. I know, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.